Well, it is a brand new day here on the homestead with the old farmhouse remodel that we're doing. 3 days have gone by since we last chatted with you. I got way more sick. I'm not 100%, but I definitely need to get back on it here. So I need to close up this hole that I have in the wall here before it gets really cold. It's already basically 0 degrees. It was 1 degree, sun's going down, it's gonna be down in 30 minutes, so I'm kind of on a race here to get this done. I got that done. It's officially cold, but I guess tonight it's supposed to get down to 20 below, and then plus wind chill. So, and the wind chill out here right now is cold. It's really cold. So anyway, I'm glad I got that back on there. I'm still feeling pretty good, so that's great. I didn't know how I was gonna feel, if I was gonna be completely just, you know, completely gassed out or not. But I'm feeling great as of right now, so that's good. That means I can keep working. So I'm gonna go warm up, and then we'll get back at the work here. And finish this wall behind me, get all the studs put in, and then today I'm just gonna try to get this done, and then I'll only be like a week behind schedule. Not a big deal at all. You know, I just kind of realized something. I can't work on that wall without first going to the exterior and securing all of the old boards, because as I'm tearing the 2x4s off, of course there's nothing supporting the old board sheathing. It's way too cold to be out there doing that right now. I'm gonna get to working on this, get Lawrence's doorway put in here. And after giving it some thought, I think I know the first thing I need to do here. Why don't I show you? So you can see these pieces here come from the wall and then meet over here like this. Those pieces are not structural. They are literally just there because my grandfather wanted a flat roof. He didn't like it going all the way up to the peak like it did before. But I think I, A, don't really like that, and B, I also think they're gonna get in the way. Right here, where the doorway is gonna be, I need to figure out how to take the load from the roof, because this wall right here is load bearing. So I've got to be able to figure out how to take the load off when I put the new wall in. This piece right here is gonna have to be cut out. So I'm gonna have to cut that out because right now it's sitting right in the middle of the doorway. Well, it's not right in the middle, but it's a few inches in. That sill plate right there is where the edge of the door is gonna be. So I've got to remove this, but in order to do it, I've got to take the load and do something with it. And in order to do that, I need to get all the way up to these rafters above here, all the way up there. And I've got to be able to somehow grab the load off of there, which that part, once I get up there, that's not a big deal. I've got some big jacks that I think will be just fine for that. But because of this drop down, and it's just being supported by nails, I don't trust that to support any load at all. So I'm going to tear this down. That was a long-winded way of me saying I'm going to tear it down now. I'm going to take these pieces down and we'll start with that. Let's do it. You can do it. Came down pretty nicely. I still need to take off that long piece that goes like that. But it got me thinking about something just doing this. Because you look at this and you go, well, where do you even start? And especially when you don't know what you're doing. And I talk to my kids about this because, you know, they're little kids, they don't know how to clean, like clean a room or clean their room, clean the living room. They get so confused, caught up with all these, you know, if it's a big mess, there's so much stuff, and even if there's 20 things sitting around, that's too much, you know. It's like they look at the problem as a whole. And it becomes really confusing and just really difficult to fix things. And I think that most people are that way when it comes to most things in life. It can, and you know, I think I used to be that way, for sure, where you look at the whole thing and it's almost like, you know, it defeats you before you begin. Because it's just too big. It's too big of a problem. It's too much for you to possibly figure out how to solve or fix or whatever. I think that the answer to how do you do something you know you don't know how to do might be something you really want to do in life. You know, some really big thing that you've always wanted to do. The answer is you just start. Find one thing that you know is out of place. One thing that you know how to fix. One thing that you can look at and say, okay, I know that has to be done. And then do that thing, you know? Just get on it and do that thing. And when you're done with that, look around and say, okay, what's the next thing that I know needs to be done? And if you can chain enough of those things together, all of a sudden, before you know it, you're done with what you wanted to, or you're halfway there. That's what I would say, just start. You can definitely find that one thing you need to do and accomplish it. And then move on to the next thing. And when I'm looking at this, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing, really. So I'm saying, what do I need to do? Well, if I'm going to take the load off of the roof here, I got to have access to the roof. So that thing's got to come down. So that's step one. Get that down. Now I'm sitting around here again going, okay, what do I need to do now? And I think the answer to what I need to do right now is to cut off that that long plate that those boards were connected to. Cut it off at that end because it appears to go past this room. So I'm going to cut that flush with the Sawzall, and then I'm going to pry that piece down. So that's what I'm going to do next. About approaching life this way. Approaching life as if you are a novice but willing, you know, willing to learn, willing to be humble. The really cool thing about that is when the student is ready, well, that's when the teachers generally appear. I don't know why this got me thinking about that, but go out there with a can-do attitude and believe you can do it. Be humble enough to realize that you're probably a moron and don't know what you think you know. And just push through. Keep working. Which kind of brings me to my next point here. I now have to figure out and think about what I'm going to do next. I know that I'm now at the point where I can take the load off of the roof onto something and take it off of this stud so that I can cut this stud out. But I think there's one other thing I should do first. On the first night that we worked on this, that Lawrence and I were here, I put in this stud right here. The only problem is it doesn't fully connect through to the stud that's above it that actually goes up to the ceiling. I am going to put a sister board, another stud that goes all the way and actually takes load, because I don't like that sitting there quite like that. I'm gonna do that. Next, low-hanging fruit. That's done, I am going to put in, I think it's called a king stud. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think it's called a king stud. Well, in some ways that was easier than I thought it was going to be. There's only one problem, and that is there's a big hole there, and I'm not willing to just run the sill plate over it. So I have to figure out how to fill that up with ideally something like concrete, and I have to figure out a way to let it cure because it's 20 below out. And I can't afford to keep this propane heater running when we're not here because it just burns through fuel like crazy. So I guess that's basically it for today.
Wait.
What?
We still have one more project.
What's that?
My bench. We got to add the bottom so it doesn't tip. When you sit on it, it's easy to tip and fall backwards, and you don't want to fall straight on your head. So I have designed a way so that we can nail it to the bottom and it will be solid.
Well, I guess we have one more quick project. So let's wrap this up and then we'll be done for the night.
Okay, so first we have to cut this board, which I found about the center of it right in here, so that we can have about 2 even pieces.
Okay.
And then those will go on the bottom so it doesn't tip. Then we'll just nail that in.
Okay, so you need me to cut it in half?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll cut it in half real quick.
Now, as you can see, we put it on like that. That way it won't rock. Got it?
Okay.
Kind of look like a mushroom.
Sure, I can do that real quick.
It doesn't rock anymore unless you make it.
Cool. You made yourself a sitting bench.
Yeah. Then I got my feet right here and I can just sit and watch anywhere. Easy move. I just pick it up like this and move it. so I can sit and watch anything
Cool.
in the house. Okay, so it was really fun making that bench, and now I got a place to sit. But it's time to go home and rest after a hard day of work. So be sure to like and subscribe, and goodbye.